them lifetime activities that they can learn throughout their life, or use throughout their life, like volleyball, activities such as football, where they'll see on TV, they'll be able to socialize about, activities, and like for future health, like the fitnessgram testing to see where they are physically fit. We also, when students are expected to change up for class, so things like when they're not changing, they get homework assignments about, and something to the effect of, why is it important to change from the gym class? Why is being hygienic important? Why is changing hygienic? A day in the life of the Phys Ed classroom. Every day the students come in, they change before class. They have 5 minutes to change before the class begins. When they finish changing, they head up to the gym and they sit in attendance lines every day. In these attendance lines, first we do push-ups, and then they run warm-up laps for a minute, or however long it takes them. Depending on the activity that we're going to do that day, they sit at what we call the red lines, which are the volleyball lines probably, throughout the basketball court. And they sit there, and usually they separate girl and boy, so if we're splitting them up for an activity, it's easier for us to separate them evenly into teams. So this is important, especially when we're explaining activities. It makes it a lot easier. In these lines, we also explain the game. So on days that we did Project Adventure activities, we could separate the kids into the lines and explain the activity and then separate them into groups, and that way it saved a lot of time. Some of our daily occurrences are, we get a lot of parent notes and kids who sit out of gym because they do not wish to participate. And so the parent notes are kind of entertaining because your kid hurt their ankle and they come in and they don't want to do gym. So those are interesting, and a lot of times there's no clothes. If they don't change 3 times, they get a 0. So that's in activities, some of the things that every day it is, the kids go by cycles, so they'll be with us for 30 days, and then they'll be with us for another 30 days. So some of the activities that I instructed and worked on were Project Adventure activities, fitnessgram testing, and whammy ball activities. These aren't all the games and activities we played, but these are some of the ones that I had the chance to instruct the students on. And then skills I've learned. Some things that in a classroom you need to, like I'm trying to now, use a loud voice. I mean, especially in the gym, it's a very large room, and I think part of one of the things I've learned is that I have to speak up in order for all the students to hear me, because otherwise they're all asking questions and no one else is listening. One of the other things that I spent a lot of time with was Fitnessgram, the Fitnessgram program. At the high school, we test the pacer test, the curl-ups, sit-ups, flexibility. This was probably a huge part of my internship. We entered Fitnessgram scores and their heights and weights into the computers, so the program could analyze them and give them if they're in their healthy fitness zone, if they need to work better, or if they're above it. Also, I used PowerTeacher to enter the grades into the computer so that they could go home on report cards. That was an interesting experience. Other things I've learned, other teaching techniques, like when you need students to help out, like giving them extra credit in a sense, like, oh, you can help us out and we'll boost your grade. Like proper techniques for volleyball and football. Some of the ways they said it, like for catching the football, like breaking the glass so you hold it. For volleyball, like the setting and the bump. Also, team building games. Some of the Project Adventure games, like Planets and Moondale, the Muddy River, and Turnstile, were games that were interesting to see, and they provide team building activities and strategy building that are used in not only in a gym atmosphere, but also in a business style and lifestyle. And this is kind of just I took pictures of the students taking the Fitnessgram test. This was, again, a huge part of what I did, entering all the scores. I instructed some of the lessons on the Fitnessgram. It they're very strict on how they take the test. The students, for instance, when they do the curl-ups, they have to come all the way to touch the end of the mat. They cannot lift their feet up off the ground. Their hands cannot leave the ground. Things like that, and to curl up forward. Or the push-ups, a lot of students can't do push-ups correctly, so you have to show them exactly what needs to be done in order to do a proper push-up. Another big part of my internship was we did a lot of project adventure games because of the rain. Our outdoor cycle was stuck indoors the last 2 weeks. So activities like Muddy River, where the students had to get across the gym floor using items like scooter boards and a jump rope and hot spots. It was interesting to see the students try to do these activities because some of them don't know teamwork, especially in the 7th grade classes you see a lot. They don't know how to work together to get themselves across the gym floor. And you end up seeing kids who are all the way at the end of the activity when their whole team's still on square one. So it's definitely interesting to see, and definitely something that needs to be worked on with those students, and eventually they'll get there when they get to the high school level. Planet Zamunda was also a team building game. The students had to they used only hot spots to get across the gym floor. They could not let the hot spots leave their touch, so they could put it down, but they had to touch it with their foot first. So they can't, if they were to leave it and someone wasn't paying attention behind them to step on it, then they lose the hot spot and they're stuck, and they have to get the whole team across. And if they don't have hot spots to get the team across, they're not going to move. So a lot of the times you see them starting over again and again until they finally figure out how to communicate with each other to get across the gym floor. I think there are definitely activities that would help team building, working in a classroom, working in a business setting, or even in life, working with other people. Turnstile is used with the jump rope. This is another project adventure activity. The students have to go through, there's 2 students who swing the rope, and they have to create a beat with the rope. When the beat is created, the students can then start to try to go through it, but they can't skip a beat, so one student has to go, one student has to go, one student has to go, and if it skips a beat, they all have to start over. So if the rope swingers are swinging too fast, or they're not swinging properly, or they're swinging too high, or things like that, they can screw up the team. So they have to communicate when to go, when to go. So it's very interesting to see, especially, you see this again in the 7th grade, which is completely different from the 8th grade. The 7th graders can't seem to quite grasp the concept of communicating. They all want to do it by themselves. So one student will go and the next person behind them is not paying attention, and then, oh, we missed the beat. So some students don't understand that, and again, that's teamwork, team building, and it's a good strategy for them to learn. In the 8th grade, some of the students get it, and they get very far, and they do complex jumping patterns. So it's very interesting to see. Things I liked about my internship, I really enjoyed interacting with students. I felt like some of them were very funny and good to get to know. It's interesting to see from a student's perspective, maybe what do you guys think of us? As teachers, oh, do you think of me as this weird girl, or blah blah blah. So it's interesting to see the students in a different light. The fitness testing, I enjoyed the general health aspect of the fitness testing. I didn't really enjoy the 400 students that had to be put into the computer, but the fitness testing I think plays a huge role in the curriculum here in Shrewsbury, and just in general health is what they're trying to get across with the fitness gram testing, and that's important. And games and skills, I really enjoyed the volleyball game, and I think a lot of the students do too, because we play a game called Whammy Ball, and it's played with a huge omnikin ball. You've never seen one, it's very big. And the students really enjoy playing it. It requires teamwork, and it's played with 4 teams, and it's like volleyball, they have to get the ball over the net, and if it hits the ground, it's a whammy. And the international whammy sign, the kids all like to flaunt it in each other's faces when they lose. So it's very interesting to see, and it's fun to play. And it makes kids want to come to class and want to participate, which I think is a lot, is the challenge that physical education teachers face. And then the emphasis, I really enjoyed the emphasis on the teamwork and and team building games. I mean, you don't really see it a lot, like, you do see a lot of emphasis on team building, but you don't see, like, the kids using it. And I think the Project Adventure games really enforce that, like, the using of the team building. These kids have to work together in order to complete these tasks, or they're not going to finish the game. So it's interesting and it's fun for the kids, those activities. Things I disliked, I wasn't very good sometimes at speaking in front of the students. It was hard for me to get up there and tell them what to do when I felt like I'm still one of them. So, I mean, it was definitely like a new experience, and it comes with experience, that speaking in front of people, that like willingness to step out there and talk in front of students. I'm also afraid that I'm gonna like go out there and confuse them. Like, what if I say something wrong and I'm confusing them? Like, I tell them when we're doing turnstile, like, to jump through it like 3 times, and they don't really need to jump through it 3 times. They just need to go 1, 2, 3 through the rope, and I confuse them. So that's kind of like things I was like afraid to do, like nervous, didn't really like. And then I really like physical education. So the kids who like try to sit out and they're not really hurt, or they have for no reason, like, or they didn't bring clothes because they didn't want to get the PACER test, that like, it makes me mad. So that's some of the things I disliked about my internship. And then overall, I had a really good experience, so I didn't really have as much to say that I didn't like. And things I used from SHS, almost to hold the 8th graders to a higher standard. They're, especially this time of year, they're going into high school, and that's kind of what I learned, like, now administration holds the seniors at a very high standard compared to what they did as freshmen. So I think that's kind of like important, and it's time for them to like learn responsibility. So it's different from the 7th graders. It's now time to go into high school. They're becoming young adults, to grow older, and this is kind of something I picked up from here, like that senior mentality, kind of just show people like this is how we do it. Like, this is Shrewsbury High School. And then fitness cram knowledge, from my own physical education classes, I've learned like how to instruct it, like proper techniques. So when I was demonstrating it for the kids, I could show them your hands need to go all the way to the line. Like, your push-ups, you have to come all the way down. Things like that. Or your PACER test, you have to go all the way to the end of the court and turn around, stop, and then when the beep, you can run again. Things like that I already know that I can use to assist students. And ideas, I added this slide in, ideas and goals for future studies. I really enjoy physical education, so to teach more, like, my goal is to make physical education something that people want to go and do, and want to be part of. They don't want to sit out, they don't want to forget their clothes, like, they want to be able to participate every day. So I want to teach more exercise activities that are fun, like, not like, oh, go run a mile. Like, kids don't like running a mile. So exercise activities that are fun and used throughout a lifetime. Like, some classes they offer here, like speed walking. Like, that's fun. It's competitive. You're not running. You're doing something that you enjoy. And then again, interest all students in activities. Make them want to participate. So activities like whammy ball, the kids wanted to be there. When they forgot their clothes, they were upset they forgot their clothes. So activities like that are really, I think, that really affected me, that I really want to take with me. Or some of the Project Adventure activities, kids wanted to participate in that.